What is up, my Division 2 peeps, and welcome to the Build Junkies channel. First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving to all of our stateside players. It is Thanksgiving Day when I'm recording this video, and I want to make sure that you guys, from all of mine to all of yours, I hope you guys are having a great, safe, and wonderful turkey day. You're spending it with friends and family and just having a great old time. But getting back to the video, this video is going to be about extra characters, builds you should have on your characters depending on whether or not you're utilizing them as a full-blown character or just a inventory mule, and discussions on levels and all the stuff that goes along with it. So starting off, should you have an extra character? Well, that kind of depends. Are you one of those looter shooter players that picks up everything and keeps it because you never know if you're going to need it and you're running low on your stash capacity? Well, if that's the case, then you might want to think about running one of those extra characters through so you get that nice 150 or 300 or 450 spaces depending on how many characters you run through, so that you've got space for all of the loot that you pick up. Now, with the availability of Countdown and the amount of loot that you can pick up in a short amount of time, my personal opinion is that that's not necessary anymore. Don't get me wrong, if you've got really nice stuff that you're relatively sure you're going to use in a build, you should probably keep it. But if you've got stuff that's like, this is pretty good, I don't really know what I'd use it for right now, but maybe sometime in the future I might use it. When I run into those scenarios, I usually junk it because I know that I could probably go back and get that piece again within a few runs of Countdown. But that's me. Now, I do currently have 4 characters in this game. I have 3 regular characters and 1 hardcore. Now, originally, back in the day, I had 2 characters that I played with and 1 character that was just strictly a mule. And then I didn't even have a 4th character because I didn't mess with hardcore back then. But as our clan grew and we had a lot of new incoming players, low level, or we had returning players from a long time that didn't have stuff, or people that transferred from PC or other consoles to Xbox and they didn't have the exotics, I decided that it was more beneficial to me to have all 3 of my primary characters, I should say all 3 of my regular characters, set up to where we could run any of the legendary content. I could do the shader acquisitions, I could do everything I needed to do within the game to try to pull exotics down for and help people that I was running with or farming with. Which leads me to my next point is, what if you're going to have multiple characters that you do use outside of being a mule, what kind of build should you at least have to be able to run all the content shy of the raids? And with the raids, that being said, if you've got a strong DPS build and you're in the right group, you can run all the raids with a DPS build. You don't have to have specialty builds to do that, even though that is the way I have one of my characters set up. I have all of the specialty builds for the raids on that one character. But back in the day, there was really only 3. If you had a skill build, a DPS build, and a healer build, there was nothing you couldn't do in the game outside of the raids. That's an arguable fact. I understand that. Some people are like, well, I can do everything with a DPS build, or I can do everything with a skill build. Yes and no. That's, everybody to each their own on their opinions. But that was kind of the general consensus back in the day. Now, when Tidal Basin and Manning Zoo were bumped up to Legendary, I believe that dynamic changed a little bit. I believe now having a tank build is also an important build to have on characters so that you're able to run those in-game challenges on Legendary. A tank build is very important in both those, in my opinion. Now, granted, you don't get exotic caches for completing those. All you get's a backpack trophy, and it's a one-and-done thing. But if other people are wanting to run, you're on a specific character, if you've got all 4 of those general builds, you should be able to run through either one of those as well as any of the other content in the game. Now, how would those builds be structured? Well, that's up to you. There's several different ways you can structure a skill build. There's several different ways you can structure a tank build, a healer build, a DPS build, especially a DPS build. There's so many ways to structure that one. it's really, is it suiting the purpose? Is it doing the job that it's intended to do is the question. You know, if it's doing the job it's intended to do, then the build's fine. I'm not going to sit here and say that there's one meta build in each one of those categories that's better than the other. That's an opinion for everybody to have of their own, and it also, you know, it strongly depends on that person's play style as well. So make sure, in my opinion, though, that you have one of each of those builds. I mean, it's only taking up 4 slots on your character, so it's not like you don't have plenty of room to do other builds. But if you're wanting to do that, make sure, in my opinion, to have one of those, each of those builds. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I run my characters through for watch points, especially since the expertise system came out. People are using their watch points to do printer filament or other ways to boost up their proficiencies and their expertise up to level 21. Now, that is how I did mine as well. That's how I got my character completely proficient on everything and up to level 21. But as you can see, my shade level at the time of this video was 4,813, which means that you subtract 800 points from your total shade score, and that's how many watch points you're going to have available to spend for materials. So is it wise to go through and just run characters through New York if you're a level 1000, or even if you're a level 1200 or 1300 or even 1500? Well, let's stop and do the math here. You're going to need pretty close to 1,000 points to level up one time on your expertise level. Okay, so in order for you to have 1,000 points, your shade level would need to be a minimum of 1,800. So if you're taking characters through New York just to get the watch points, just to spend on the expertise, and you're a level 900 or you're a level 1100, you're kind of wasting a lot of time, in my opinion. Does it mean that you can't spend the watch points and do it and run through New York ungodly amounts of times? No, it doesn't mean you can't do that. And hell, if that's what you enjoy doing, you know, rock on. But if you're looking at the math side of it, it really doesn't make sense to do that just for the watch points, for the expertise anyway, until you get to around 1,800 to 2,000 shade level. At least then you've got enough watch points to spend to make it worth that 1.5 to 2 hour grind to push a character through New York. Now, if you're looking for, let's say you're not all that up on the expertise, and you're more about putting builds together. I just want to put builds together, and I need those watch points from materials to help me put my builds together. Well, then you probably wouldn't need quite that level, you know, that high of a level in order to make it worth running through New York. It really depends on what you're using your points for. But I say this because we, you know, in the past we've had a lot of clan members like, hey man, can you help me run through New York? And I go, okay, well, what are you running through New York for? Well, I need the watch points. And I look at their watch and they're level 950. Okay, well, all right, well, what are you going to spend that 150 watch points on? Oh, well, I'm going to use it for my expertise. I'm like, dude, you're wasting a bunch of time. You're wasting a bunch of time. That 150 points is not going to get you, it's going to get you 3 fills on printer film. That's what's going to get you. You know, and that's not going to even get you an expertise level out of that. So you're better off going out and grinding expertise and leveling, if that's the case and that's the direction that you want to go. You know, there's plenty of ways to still go out and grind good expertise and level up quickly. And I would suggest doing that over just running through New York over and over again at such a low shade level. But once again, to each their own. If that's what you like to do and you don't mind that, and you've got people that are willing to help you go in and do it, if they don't mind that, you know, that's awesome. You do you. But the level is important, in my opinion, depending on what you're going to use that stuff for. And that's definitely something that you need to keep in mind when you're thinking about how you're going to approach doing in the game whatever you're going to do. But I have talked about this enough, and I want to let you fellers and fellas get back to your day. So thank you for stopping by, checking out our content. We really do appreciate you guys' feedback. So feel free to leave a comment in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications on future videos. Share our videos with other people. If you like what we're doing and like the content we're putting out, please let others know about it. We much appreciate that. And feel free to stop by any of our other social media sites as well. The links for those will be in the description of this video below. We hope you guys are having a safe and wonderful day, and we will see you guys again in the next video.